Los Angeles Rams, one of three teams in the NFC West that are fighting it out for a playoff spot. Of course, behind the division champion Seattle Seahawks, the Rams, along with the Cardinals, are duking it out for one of the last playoff spots. And right now, it looks like the Rams, that is, are very comfortable and safe in the playoffs. But one more week to go. And I'm Earl Holland, of course, and this is our Sports Refuge NFL live stream playoff preview. And with me to talk about the Rams is fan Donald Johnson. I really appreciate you being on the show. Thank you so much for being here. I'd love to hear about your passion for the Rams, especially being in Mardella Springs, Maryland, how that all happened.
Well, you know what? Tonight I'm bringing out my inner Kurt Warner for the playoffs. That's what I need. The inner Kurt Warner is going to be here. And how I became a Rams fan. I played Salvation Army football back in the day, and that we had helmets like a Ram's head. So ever since I was a little kid, I thought, man, how cool is that helmet with the horn on it? So I just grew up liking the Rams. Being from the Maryland area, I mean, I like the Colts, but it was something about the Rams. It was just when I'm a little bit older than your millennial audience that you did earlier. I grew up in the fearsome foursome and defense and blood and teeth knocked out and kind of things like that. It's kind of crazy how that became on. But I liked the Rams since I was a little kid, so I've liked them for around 40 years.
To you, what is your most memorable moment as a Rams fan, and how did you deal with the move from Los Angeles to St. Louis and then from St. Louis back to Los Angeles?
Well, it's funny. The main reason I stopped listening to the Colts is because they were sold out in the middle of the night. And that's unfortunately in sports, it's all about the money. When they moved from LA, it's St. Louis offered them some money, and that's it. They offered more money, so they went St. Louis, and then St. Louis wouldn't build them a new stadium, so then they went back to Los Angeles. I know it's part of the business that we unfortunately are going to be involved in, but what are you going to do? I mean, for the love, I played football and I love the game. Unfortunately, it's just all about the money now. Just like was that Cuba Gooding and with Tom Cruise? Show me the money. Show me the money. That's all it takes is a money game.
Yeah, and I definitely think that's true. And I know you look at it, I mean, it seemed like there was a little more passion when the Rams left from St. Louis than there were when they left from LA the first time. But it seems like there is a following in LA, and that's a good thing, because the last thing you want to do is move to a city that there's a lot of apathy.
Well, you know what the thing I see is that when you look at Rams games when they had actual fans, there are just when they played the Cowboys or they play teams like the Steelers or somebody, there's more people that like the other teams in the stands, or just as many teams, kind of like going to Oriole game every now and then. You see more fans from the other side. I don't know how you draw them. Draw the fans there. I know if you win a championship, you'll fill the stands up. That's the key is winning a championship.
To you, is there the biggest memorable moment as a Rams fan, either in St. Louis or LA? I guess in this case, one from the Los Angeles days and one from the St. Louis days. There's got to be a memorable moment for each.
Well, the LA pre-St. Louis, 1979 against the Pittsburgh Steelers. They went in there. big underdogs. They were getting ready. Everybody was going to say Pittsburgh's going to whip their butts, and they played them strong. They played them tough. I mean, that to me, I was just excited they were in the Super Bowl. That was one of those games where, hey, they made it there. And then, of course, when we got to St. Louis, a championship in 1999, Kurt Warner, greatest show on turf. I mean, the receivers they had, the team, they just didn't have if they had that offense with today's defense, I would be talking about Super Bowl this year.
What were the expectations coming into the season? I know there was a little bit of struggle last year coming off, I guess people could say, a Super Bowl hangover from last year. What were you looking to see the Rams do, especially Sean McVay and another year in LA? The expectations for the Rams, what were you thinking heading into
my expectations were, nobody gave the Rams any chance at the beginning of the year. Everybody was like, oh, they'll probably be fourth in the division. So a playoff shot to me, I mean, looking at the roster and looking at the defense, Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, they got some guys on defense can get after it. I mean, like my man before, the 85 Bears had a heck of a defense. Their offense was all right. But, man, when you can hold your team under 10 or 15 points every game, that's a very little that you got to score to win the game when your defense takes charge. And I think that's what kind of defense we have this year. We're the number one defense in the league. But unfortunately, we can't. Our offensive expectations are terrible.
Was there a point in the season that you felt that the Rams are going to be a lock for the playoffs? And where was that point where you felt very optimistic about them?
Well, they played Tampa Bay. They played them great. They beat them. There was a point where once then they beat the Bears before the Bears followed down. I mean, they were looking good. They looked like shut down defense and scoring enough points to win the games. They looked really tough. And at that point, I was like, man, they're looking good. Even the swing of the announcers on the TV were saying, man, maybe the Rams are the team to beat in the NFC. Maybe the Rams are beat. It's not just about New Orleans and things like that. Strength of schedule has some things to do with it. Sometimes but I just think that they have the team. I mean, after seeing the game in Tampa Bay and Chicago, and they just look like the team. They beat Seattle. They beat the Cardinals. I mean, those are the teams that they're going to be struggling, but they played them really, really tough at the beginning of the year. So I was really excited about that.
Was there a particular point in the season where you thought the Rams aren't going to the playoffs? And what was the game that made you think that?
The Jets, they sucked. They got outplayed. It's not like you look at a game and go, man, they just were terrible. The Jets outplayed them in every facet. Their Jets nose guard, I can't remember his name, just blew the center over every time on the play. He was in the backfield, and it just didn't look like they were prepared for the game. I was kind of disappointed and saying, oh, man, we're going to be fighting for that. But they still had a chance. If they had to beat Seattle, they would have been in first place. So it did. But I just think they're on the downswing now. It's kind of bothers me a little bit.
When you look at the playoff brackets and right now holding their own destiny, barring something catastrophic occurring, who do you think the Rams match up the best with in the NFC playoffs?
I didn't hear that question. It was all broken up.
No problem. When it comes to who the Rams will play in the playoffs, looking them making in, barring some disaster, who do you feel they match up the best with?
None of the teams bother me. With their defense, they can stay in any game. Nobody in the NFC scares me. Green Bay looks good. But if you got a running attack, you can run on Green Bay. And that's the only thing that bothers me on Green Bay is the Rams don't really have a running attack, so they don't even try. They pass, and think about running. I mean, when they had Akers in there, Akers did good, but then they run 3 or 4 times. The other team gets ahead, a touchdown, and they drop the run and start passing. They are not a pass happy offense. They're not like Green Bay. So I mean, but I'll play any team in the NFC. I'd rather play them than anybody in the NFC than I would play in Kansas City in the AFC.
Going on to the other side of the coin, who in that NFC bracket maybe scares you as a Rams fan?
Like I said, I think probably Green Bay would be the one that scares me the most. Um, probably Green Bay. Saints are good, but we haven't really tested. I mean, we'll see what gets set. The cream rises to the top. Sometimes you play hot, and when you get hot, I mean, Saints are hot too. So they're looking good. Aaron Rodgers. I mean, all that offense. When you can score 50 points, it's hard for an offense to keep up with them if your defense is not good. If you can't match up with their offense, then you're done. So probably Green Bay scares me the most.
Seeing the turnover on the roster, especially losing players like Gurley and some of the wide receivers, what do you think the offensive identity of this team is? I know you mentioned the passing and things like that, but is there a particular identity on offense as opposed to how it is on defense? Everybody knows you got to watch out for Aaron Donald and really all those guys, but what's the best way to describe the offense?
I think they put a little bubble around Jared Goff. They don't open. They do these little read option things and stuff like that, and he does little dump passes and little 20-yard passes. I wish they would open it up a little bit. I wish they would throw the ball downfield more. They may once in every other game they'll throw a little Tyler Higbee down the middle for 40 yards or something like that, or something. They just got Golf in a bubble, and now it appears that he's a Wake Forest or it seems like that defense is being and when they have to pass and the defense knows he has to pass, that's when they do that quick tempo, that's it. That's when the offense is clicking. That's what I think is what make when they stop doing that huddle and they get up to the line and just go. Teams can't stop them. But then they start and then they run the clock down to 1 second before they hike the ball. After a while, it gets frustrating. I mean, when you can see and you're sitting back in your armchair quarterback chair and you're looking and saying, "Man, you can kind of tell what they're going to do." Their identity better be to throw the ball downfield a little bit more than they've been doing. And hopefully Akers will be better. Henderson got hurt yesterday, so they're down to a third guy, Brown. So I don't know how you can identify that. Goff used to be I was like, man, he's a pretty damn good quarterback. But here lately, I'm losing faith in him. I'm losing faith in what kind of quarterback he is. Man, if we had somebody like Patrick Mahomes on our team being quarterback, they could run or Lamar Jackson, they would be awesome. They've got some weapons. They just got to be able to get to the weapons. I wish we had a scramble quarterback. I'd take back in the day my Randall Cunningham and somebody like that. But unfortunately, Goff is a pocket passer. And I don't think the league is too much of a pocket passer. They're working more towards that scrambling mobile quarterback.
Is it more of a thing of just they've seen him enough and they know what he can and can't do, or is it just that he's not being utilized right? Or is it that Goff might just
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I just don't think that they're like Cooper Kupp, man, he can get almost, and then once he has the ball, his open field running ability, breaking tackles, I think it was 1 or 2 in the league. I mean, that goes without saying when you got Devontae Adams and people like that can run routes like crazy. DK Metcalf, and I mean, we're talking Cooper Kupp. They just they don't get it to him the ball as much as they should. I mean, a lot of these leagues do that, or a lot of the teams do that little screenplay that they're not supposed to do. They run the routes through each other, and then somebody's always open as long as you don't make contact. I think they need to spread their offense out a little bit more. And if you get the run game going, then the passing game always works. I mean, it always works off of that. So these teams that rely on the pass the whole game, you'll find out won't win Super Bowls. I mean, they won't. I mean, if they do, it's going to be 100-99, one of these high-scoring games.
Looking at the prediction for the Super Bowl, who do you have coming out of the AFC? Who do you have coming out of the NFC? And what will your final score be for that Super Bowl?
I think I just lost your connection.
Okay, no problem. Can you see me now again? Let's see. Donald, can you see me again? I know we're dealing with a little bit of technical issues, and I know we'll get back to it.
Yeah.
When you're dealing with live technology, and
I'm still here. You went off the screen.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, and
okay, we're good now, I think.
Okay, yeah, and I was telling the audience that when we deal with technology, technology, they say it's going to always make things easier, and sometimes it just makes things harder. But I was saying, who do you have coming out of the AFC and NFC for the Super Bowl, and who do you have winning in the final score?
Hey, Dawn. Can you come hook this battery up? Can you come hook the battery up? It's buff. It's been terrible. He said I can edit it. If you here it is on the side.
You're in.
Couldn't get the light.
Can you go that way just a smidge?
Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't know what's going on. I lost your picture completely.
Okay. But you can hear me. So I can still see you. Let me try something real quick. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now, Donald? For those of you with us, we are dealing with a little bit of technical difficulties. Just please bear with us. And this is, again, our third live stream of the night where we're talking with Donald Johnson about the Los Angeles Rams. After that, we will wrap up tonight's live streams where we will talk about the Minnesota Vikings with David Krause. But again, please bear with us as we're going through some technical difficulties because we will resume the interview as soon as possible. As we were mentioning before, sometimes when dealing with live broadcasts, and especially technology doesn't always work out as well as it should, but sometimes you have to make the best of it. And it looks like we have Donald back.
Okay, we're back.
All right, Donald, can you hear me?
Got the dog, the cat, the wife, everybody in here now.
That was no problem. Like I said, I was telling everybody sometimes with technology, it's supposed to be easy, but it never is.
Yes.
Okay. And we're just gonna pick it up where we were. We were talking about.
We're ready.
Mhm.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, great. We are back. We're talking about our Super Bowl prediction, who's coming out of the AFC, who's coming out of the NFC, and what the final score will be.
Okay. I'm picking the dark horse. I'm not a Ravens fan because I don't like the Ravens fans, period. But I like rooting for the Ravens because they're from Baltimore. The Ravens look really good the last couple weeks, and I think the Ravens can beat the Chiefs, and one of the few teams that can beat the Chiefs. So I'm looking at a dark horse Ravens against the Green Bay Packers in the Super Bowl. Chiefs are going down. And I think the score is going to be 34-21.
You're one of the few people who have picked a team other than Kansas City coming out of the AFC.
Well, you're going to be calling me back saying, man, you were right. I hope it's the Rams, but I think my heart is fading quick.
I really do appreciate it, you being on. Before we wrap this up, what's the best way people can reach out to you on social media and talk with you a little bit about the Rams?
I'm yeah, I see that. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram, DH Johnson, the number 2 Incorporated. Just Facebook, like you said, me and you on Facebook, Donald Johnson. Football and maybe we'll talk about the Wizards sometime and look at
Yeah, I'd be glad to talk about the Wizards. I feel there's so few people that really talk about the Wizards at all. I know everything else you just keep hearing about.
That's it. I said someday we'll have to talk about. I'm a big Wizards fan. If you like the Wizards, and how they're 0-3 this year, so I'm looking forward to the football playoffs coming up. This game tonight ain't worth nothing, so probably not even going to watch it. So hopefully the Rams can play better. They better win this week.
Well, Donald, I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much. And we'll continue this off the air. And then coming up very soon, we're going to wrap up our live stream for tonight, and we will be covering the Minnesota Vikings with David Krause. For my guest, Donald Johnson, this is Earl Holland saying keep on watching, and we'll be back a little bit.